In this backpack, I have 3 of the lightest tents in the world. The Tarptent Notch Li, the Durston Gear X-mid Pro, and the Zpacks Solplex. To give you guys a packed size comparison, those are the 3 right there, diameters. And there's the lengths. Now to set these 3 up, we are going to be using the Sulik 46 titanium Matani tent stakes. Each one weighs about 5 to 6 grams and are 6 inches long. If you're interested in purchasing, link is in the description. Now once we set all 3 up, I'm going to go inside them, test them out, because I can only keep one, so I'm going to sell the other, and the third I'm going to burn. Not actually going to burn it, but I don't know, maybe I'll sell too. Let's set them up. This thing is way bigger than I thought. Like way bigger. Holy crap. It's probably worth mentioning that I've owned the Zpacks Solplex for about 5 years, and the Tarptent Notch Li and the Durston X-mid Pro are brand new. I've never set them up, so I'm still playing with the pitches a little bit. But right now, I'm gonna go in each one and kind of see which one has the best space, best usability, and which one I'm gonna keep. Although these are all the lightest shelters on the market, they're very different. And I'll tell you exactly what's a little bit different. So first and foremost, the Zpacks is very much a small footprint, and it is basically a tarp with a net and a floor. It's not a true tent, I don't think. It's like a true tarp tent. The X-mid Pro by Durston Gear is very much a tent, 2 doors, 2 vestibules, has coverage much lower to the ground, and it resembles more of a traditional style tent. The Tarptent Notch Li is a true double wall tent, and it even has a solid interior because I specifically bought that one for Arctic conditions. I also have a feeling that I need to play with the pitch a little bit. It's not looking so hot. Tarptent Notch Li, the solid interior. Zpacks Solplex. It's getting a little windy. So the Zpacks doesn't have a zipper, which hasn't bothered me over the years. Single door entry and a single vestibule, which also hasn't bothered me. It's got this technique here to open and close it. Looks sort of like that in there. And the Durston Gear X-mid Pro, which is arguably absolutely massive. Then the Durston Gear. Ooh, nice strong zipper. This thing is just huge in here. Okay, we're gonna have to give these a go. Probably worth mentioning once again, that was my first time setting this up, so I've adjusted some stuff so I believe it's correct. And now I'm going to test all the shelters to see basically like how well I fit. I'm gigantic. I'm 6'3", 205 pounds. And the tent that I'm looking for right now is going to be the one that comes to the Arctic with me. So I'm going to have my pack raft, you know, 14 days worth of food. I'm going to need a lot of space in the vestibule, and I'm going to have a big winter bag. So I'm going to go in each one and see how well I fit. Oh, no way. Very cool feature that I didn't know about. There's a magnet to hold the door open. I like that magnet. Oh. Well, very good headroom for me. That's not a problem. Lengthwise, this is pretty good. Totally good. I can handle this. This is actually very good headroom and footroom for me. No problem at all. Dual doors and dual vestibules. Some of you might be thinking that it's a little bit snug, but for sleeping, I don't really need much more room. I just need more room for like some gear and stuff like that. And the reason why I got the solid wall on this one is because I thought that if I was going to head to the Arctic, I'm going to want some warmth and I'm going to want some wind protection. And this is something that I'd like. Very small footprint as well. Oh my gosh, I could totally sleep in here. Oh. So guys, there's my footroom with my hot dog socks. Here's my headroom, which you might think is not a lot, but it's actually pretty good. Like, there is significant room. I don't mind so much about the elbows. I can get past that. I like it. Nice small footprint. I guess the reason why there's such good head and foot room is the struts on the end. I'm really liking this. I'm really liking this. Next up on the list is the Zpacks Solplex. I have had this since 2017 or 18. I actually took this to Baffin Island on my other Arctic trip. In my lessons learned for the trip, I had actually written that it was hard to get a tighter pitch close to the floor to stop wind and snow coming in. And the amount of gear I had was a problem because it just had the one vestibule at the front. But it is very easy to pitch. It's the lightest of the three and it's got a small footprint. I know some people don't like that when you unzip the door, it falls on the floor, and I don't really care so much for that. All right, gigantic 6'3" man coming in. The reality is that I've used this tent so many times over the years that I kind of know its limitations. It's a little bit tight for someone my height, to be honest. It's not something that you can't handle, but it's a little bit tight. Little bit tight. So there you can see that with my head basically right against the top here, my toes do touch. So it's never been a huge issue for me, but it's something just to keep in mind. Also, headroom is not the best in this thing. Headroom's not the best. Smallest and lightest though. And you can't get to the back vestibule. Back vestibule, you know, you have to put it from the outside. On to the next. This is a very big one-person tent, significantly bigger than the other two. I don't know by what square footage, but the only downfall I could see is that if you wanted to pitch it somewhere like very, very tight, this would be the biggest. But I guess most people are looking for a big one-person shelter. Let's take a look. Hey, the Durston Gear's got the magnet as well. I didn't even know that. Okay. Door zips in a way that it doesn't fall on the ground, even though that doesn't bother me. Poles are out of the way. I can tell that I've got a pitching issue here just slightly, but I think it'll be okay for now. This is legitimately gigantic. Legitimately gigantic. This is huge in here. Look at the headroom. So hands down has the biggest sleeping area. No problem for someone 6'3". Hands down has the biggest vestibules. There's my feet. You can see, actually I can lift them way up in the air without actually hitting anything. And my head, it's hard for me to do this, but my head, you can see there's a ton of room in here. Like, it is absolutely massive in here. Absolutely massive. This does not have a DCF floor. Not a problem. It actually, because it's a sil nylon floor, it actually packs up smaller. DCF is a little bit more bulkier than sil nylon. Wow. Guys, this is a really, really nice tent. So now that we have set up all three tents, we've gone inside, we've checked them for the fit of a gigantic human being like me, and if I have enough room for my gear, it's time to make a decision. But let me explain where each of these tents may fit in with my lifestyle. The Zpacks Solplex is the lightest of the three, and I've used it extensively over the last 5, maybe even 6 years. It is a great tent. It is a minimalist tent, no zipper, single vestibule, very small footprint and very small volume. So I see that fitting in my like very warm weather, fair weather trips where I'm moving very fast, very light, and I just need somewhere to sleep. It's almost like a bivy sack. If you direct your attention over to the Tarptent Notch Li, it is a full double wall with solid interior, true tent made of DCF. Slightly heavier than the other two, but not by much. And I can see that fitting in some harsh weather conditions, maybe even winter camping. Might be a little bit small, but the protection from the elements is what is keeping me interested in this specific design. And finally, the Durston X-mid Pro. Absolutely huge for the amount of weight that it is. Fantastic 2 vestibules, tons of room for someone my size, plus a ton of gear. I can see this fitting very, very well with my Arctic expedition, where I don't require the robustness of a double wall solid interior, but something this small and light would not work. And that's why I'm keeping the Durston. After testing all 3 of the tents, seeing which ones would work for me in different conditions, I have decided to keep all 3. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.